1141. Friend of the people. This event is a consequence of your actions. Okay. Wonderful. Because I've got more than 5 justice? Alright. Friend of the people. Another day of work at the prefecture is winding down. After hours of paperwork, your fingers are cramped, your vision blurred. Today, you must finish incorporating the new decrees of the Great Imperial Council into the Magran Code of Law. The document will then be sent to the Overseer. A knock at the door distracts you. Your visitor is someone you were not expecting to see. Meyer Egmont enters your office. He is the wealthiest man in Magra, the owner of the silver mines, and the leader of the wealthy commoners' party in the Lesser Quorum. He wears a high-priced frock coat made of light grey fabric. He wears no jewelry, but his coat is richly embroidered, the most luxury a commoner can ever afford. Egmont offers you a broad, sun-tanned hand. It is hard, work-weary, and eternally calloused. This is a man who has earned his fortune with the sweat of his brow. Good afternoon, Judge Brante. We met recently about the newspaper business, but today I need to discuss a different matter with you. I came to talk to you on behalf of the manufacturers of Magra. As you know, the principal source of income in the province is the silver mines. Our mines provide silver for the sacramental rites conducted in temples all over the empire, but the upper vein of ore is nearly exhausted. We need to process new deposits that are lower down. That's where our trouble with the law comes into play. In order to get to the deep layers of ore, we need gunpowder, but a decree from the Great Imperial Council has forbidden common people from using it. Back in the capital, they're afraid we'll turn that gunpowder into a weapon. But this restriction will harm not only the manufacturers and the miners, but the province as a whole. The silver trade will decline. We won't have enough money to buy grain, and soon even the nobility will be impoverished. I know that you're the judge. The judge, is of the prefecture, are the ones who interpret the decrees from the capital, so I implore you, Sir Brante, to come to the aid of the honest tradesmen of Magra. Pass an amendment allowing the use of gunpowder in the silver mines. You gave Egmont a speculative glance, and ask him why he has asked you specifically for help. I've been following your decisions for quite some time, Your Honor. They give me hope. I don't agree with you on everything, but we seem to see eye to eye on the essentials. The common estate needs to get real rights. It's the only way for our profits and for the empire as a whole. Sure, Prefect Ilborn has proclaimed as much himself, but unfortunately he's a nobleman of the sword, first and foremost. He's bound by the blood tide, by the power of the Overseer and the Archnians, so his undertakings are doomed to failure. If you, Sir Brante, truly care for the people, you need some powerful allies among the lowborn. Allies like me. Do this for me, and together we'll change the fate of Magra. Egmont extends his hand, hope in his eyes. You take your time before answering, weighing his words carefully. Alright, this is simple. We can agree, or we can refuse. So if we refuse, Egmont will dislike us. Okay, interesting. We could agree. The wealth of Magra would go up, justice would go up, my personal wealth would go up. Oh, wow. This seems amazing. What's the downside here? And Meyer Egmont will like me better. I guess the potential downside is it does give me this relation thing of made a deal, which who knows, maybe the powers that be will make cause for that to bite me down the road, but I think for the time being, this is what's good for the province, this is what's good for the family, and it sticks to my ideals. What could be better? You take his hand. Egmont gives you a strong handshake. You tell him that you share his apprehension and understand that silver is crucial to the province. You promise to amend the law so that the restrictions do not apply to silver mines. Thank you, Brian Brante. Nobles who care about the needs of the common folk are few and far between. This is what nobility really means. I share a belief that only a union of the estates will lead the empire to order and prosperity. You can count on my support. Silver is the lifeblood of Magra. Today, you've not only saved us all from ruin, you've also made every Magran a little bit richer, yourself included. It'll make sure the Brontes get a share of the profits. Ah, I like how you're thinking there, Maya. And I promise you, Bronze, this gunpowder will shatter those ancient rock formations and reveal the hidden treasure to us all. Wonderful, made a deal. Okay, so we've legalized gunpowder for mining purposes. Worth noting, it wouldn't actually be the furthest stretch in the world to repurpose that powder for more nefarious means, so what are the odds of some sort of civil war breaking out anyway, so we'll be fine. Oh, the commoners are protected. Great. Probably don't want to get it so high that the commoners seize power, but I don't know, I mean, we'll see what happens. A deal with Egmont. Egmont made a deal with you. You're helping him to legitimize the use of gunpowder in the mines. I'd say that went pretty well. Year 1141. The Guns of Illyria. Magra has received alarming news from the neighboring province of Illyria. The low-born convicts toiling in the Illyrian mines have revolted against their noble masters. For the first time in many long peaceful years, commoners have taken up arms. Worse yet, the insurgents had guns and gunpowder, and no one knows how they got them. Gunpowder weapons were banned throughout the empire as soon as they were invented. The lords deemed firearms dishonorable and unfit for the nobles. Even legion soldiers are forbidden from using them. But now gunshots were echoing through the mutinous Illyrian mines. The Imperial Legion was deployed to quell the riots. The legionnaires slaughtered the rebels without mercy, and the uprising choked to death on its own blood before it had even begun. The south of Illyria is now a forest of gallows. The convicts' corpses were left swaying in the wind as a warning to any commoner who might dare to take up arms. Although the rebellion quickly succumbed to the Imperial military's onslaught, many Legion soldiers and officers were slain by the insurgents' firearms. Their steel armor was no match for bullets. The riders' weapons were destroyed in a public ceremony, but no one knows who built or smuggled them into the mines. All Imperial overseers soon issued public reminders in their provinces. The punishment for owning a gunpowder weapon is true death by execution. Ah, that darn gun control. But the Empire is still restless, still anxious. Somehow, guns found their way into commoners' hands, if only for a short time. Could gunpowder and lead one day endanger the old ways of the Empire? Authorities of Magra fear that unrest may soon spill over here. Due to the double tax, peasant farms and industrial manufactories are facing harsh times. The province's wealth is steadily declining. I tried to help with that, at least a bit, but the discontent of the commoners is still held back by the eternal lot that demands they accept their suffering. Now security's gone down a bit. Or not security, the wealth has gone down. A friend in need. You arrive at the office one fine morning and find a visitor already sitting there. The visitor is none other than Thomas Guerrero. His heavy uniform already bears a captain's chevrons. Thomas looks nervous, his fingers drumming a foreboding staccato on the desk. Why has your old friend decided to pay you a visit? You pat your friend on the shoulder and congratulate him on his promotion. Thomas shrugs quietly, brimming with pride. I got bumped up a month ago. Apparently the Legion is running short on decent officers. And then I realized why there are so few of them. Wish I knew my direct superior was gonna be our very own Commander Autumn. Thomas grows grim at the mention of Autumn. Listen, buddy. You and me, we always help each other out, right? That Arcanian bastard, well, he challenged me to a duel. For the second time. He cut me down a month ago. That was my second lesser death. Thomas. Man. I know. I never told you, but it was tough. The gods, they spoke to me there, in the hereafter. But right now, I got something worse to worry about than matters of the soul. See, Autumn, he remembers me from the time at the academy when I stood up to him at the party. Now he's gonna kill me again and again until my true death comes. So it's a duel. That's Autumn's way of having fun with his subordinates. Brian, I'm asking you, as a friend, will you be my second at the duel? I know Prefect Elborn doesn't like any kind of sword fighting. One of the old traditions he wants to put a stop to. But if I show up without a second, he won't just kill me for a third time. He'll dishonor me too. You knit your brow in thoughts. In the Prefect's opinion, dueling is a lawless tool of noble tyranny. Elborn sees duels as an outmoded way of circumventing the legal system. He would be crushed to learn that one of his judges had been involved in a duel. Thomas sighs heavily. I know, this is hard, pal. But I've got no one else to turn to. All the boys in the Legion fear Autumn like the plague. You're the only noble who can support me in this. But I know this duel won't be the end. Our great Sir Autumn will find an excuse for a third duel before you know it. That'll be my last one for sure. Thomas rolls up the sleeve of his uniform. 2 pitch black lines encircle his forearm. He is desperate, and it is easy to see why. One-on-one against an Arcanian swordsman, he is doomed. The law forbids dueling, but if you refuse to show Thomas your support through your presence, your friend's spirit will be broken before his body can even be killed. You recall all your previous encounters with Autumn in your youth. Is there a chance the distinguished Arcanian still remembers you? If you go to him and speak in Thomas' defense, will he even bother to listen? Well, there's 3 options here. I can't decline because I've got a bond of friendship. Fair enough. I can't stop the duel because I don't have enough manipulation. And Autumn doesn't like me. Well then, I have no choice. I must be Thomas' second in this. Even if it is futile in the end, but sometimes you must do the honorable thing even if it is ultimately an act of futility. You've been best friends with Thomas ever since you were little boys. Does he really think you would abandon him to such a cruel fate? Of course you will be his second at the duel, no matter what. Your friendship will not be broken, not even if you risk Prefect Elborn's displeasure. As the 2 of you walk to the palace ruins, you finally have time to ask Thomas for more information. What was Autumn's excuse for challenging to a duel this time? Here's what happened. Autumn told me to head to a nearby village with a squad of Legion soldiers. Selmina it's called. The villagers refused to pay the Archduke's tax. Said they already paid the tax to Gaius Tempest's men. He, the overseer, so the law says the tax is his. So Autumn told me and the lads to string up a couple of the rowdiest peasants and put their houses to the torch to teach the rest of them a lesson. So we went there, and let me tell you, buddy, I didn't join the Legion to start hanging people and burning villages. So we decided to have a word with the villager elder first. Locals soon realized what was going on. Losing money is one thing, but losing a spare life is worse. They hammed it hard, and finally found enough cash to pay Archduke Milanidas. Which means we came back to Anazote with nobody dead and all the money for the treasury. But then the commander summons me and claims I didn't follow his order, which means I also slighted the honor of the noble Arcanian who's my commander. So He challenges me to a duel. Of course. You fulfill the job better than he had asked, and this is your reward. And you know what? I'm not the first, Brian. I'm not the last. Any officer in the Legion could end up like me. Auden does as he sees fit. There's no plans to stop. He's a commander, he's a noble of the sword, he's an Arcanian. We're just dirt under his boots. Who's gonna rein him in? You reach the site of the duel just before dawn. By a half-crumbled wall, you see a tall figure clad in a thick cloak. Dorius Auden, High Commander of Magra. Already expecting you. His azure fingers drum impatiently on the pommel of his sword. Thomas dutifully bows to his commander. Auden grimaces at him. You're late, Captain Guerrero. Why should I have to wait for you? You've insulted me again already. And who is this? I've seen your face before. Anyway, I don't have time for this. Make haste, I have other duties. Other duels today. The commander's second appears from the shadows. A young nobleman, quiet and eager to oblige his betters. As seconds, you ask the duelists if they are ready. Without a word, Auden draws his sword. Thomas nods anxiously, clearly ready to face another death. The two bow ceremoniously and adopt a dueling stance. The difference between them is apparent as soon as they begin. Auden's sword seems like an extension of his arm. Thomas pales before him, like a clumsy child who has grabbed father's sword for the first time. Everything about this battle shows that Auden treats this duel as no more than entertainment. The Arcanian moves around so rapidly and gracefully, your friend can barely defend himself against the flurry of strikes. Then, for the smallest moment, Auden tones down his assault, and for the first time during the duel, Thomas makes a riposte. Easily, effortlessly, Auden deflects Thomas's blow, and then retaliates. His sword sticks through your friend's shoulder. As soon as you see the blade drew blood, you shout for the duel to end. The debt for the insult has been paid in blood. If the loser of the duel is ready to offer his apology, the fight must stop. What? Some human trying to teach me the laws of the duel? I'm an Arcanian of the Auden dynasty. There is no one here who can teach me the ways of honor. His sword flashes and stabs your friend straight through the heart. A wet red spot begins to spread across Thomas's shirt. Your friend stumbles backward. He drops his sword. His knees buckle. A wheeze. Another. Then a cough full of blood. And his bright eyes grow dim and dull. Slowly, Thomas's body disappears. His blood-stained clothes, his sword, and his footsteps in the dust are all that remains. Auden hands his sword to his second, who's ready to wipe it down. Well then, that pitiful human will face another duel very soon. Let's hope he fights better during his last life. When your friend is reborn, tell him my exact words. The Arcanian walks away, calm and composed, his second in tow. Dazed and numb, all he can do now is gather your friend's belongings and bring them to his house. Unless you intervene, Thomas is doomed to meet his true death soon. You are a judge, but to an Arcanian of such rank and birth, your authority means nothing. Is there any way you can help your friend? Thomas is in danger. Well then. Sorry, Thomas. The case against Auden. The day after your meeting with Thomas, time slows to a crawl. As you examine one case after another, you cannot help but think back to your friend and his fate, again and again. There's a knock at the door. Baron Elbon, the prefect, has decided to pay you a visit. I have a matter to discuss with you, Brante. Would you mind if we take a walk? It's getting a bit stuffy in here. The prefect clearly wants to discuss something in private. You walk down the stairs together and leave the prefecture. Soon the two of you are walking down the noisy streets of the Brass district. The wind is strong today, the grey sky mercifully overcast, The people around you are bartering, buying, and selling eagerly. The streets are full of craftsmen and factory workers. Merchant carts squeak as they roll down the streets. The head of the prefecture looks more worried than usual, lost in thought as he observes the bustling street life around him. Brante, do you recall how we talked about the tyranny of the nobility in the province? Dorius Autumn, the High Commander of Magra, is on a murderous spree. He challenges his subordinates to a duel for the slightest infraction, and slaughters them with impunity. If our law is unable to protect anyone from the violent tyranny of the Arcadians, who will ever respect the law? It's time we put an end to this. As long as I am in charge of the prefecture, establishing the rule of law over people of all estates and titles is our most important task. But people like Autumn stand in our way. People who think themselves above the law. We need to prove them wrong. I have been informed that Autumn has pressured your childhood friend, Captain Thomas Guerrero, into a duel. I believe Sir Guerrero has sought your assistance in private. Am I right? You admit that it is so. Indeed, as an old friend, Thomas is counting on you to defend him. And so, young Brante, I believe that to be reasoned enough to entrust this case to you, officially. If you find yourself doubting your abilities, know that you are my best candidate. No other judge would have the courage to prosecute an Arcanian. That, and I trust you more than any ordinary judge. I spoke to your father, but even he would not accept this undertaking. He says your family has worked too hard to be ennobled by the sword to risk it all now. But you bear no such burden, do you? As it stands right now, sentencing an Arcanian to even the smallest punishment is unthinkable. But drop by drop, water can wear down any stone. We will make our way to Autumn, but we must do it slowly and carefully. What we need is a perfectly prepared case. We need you to find enough incontrovertible evidence and enough witnesses who are willing to testify in courts. But I'm sure you realize that even this won't be enough to force an Arcanian to go to trial. Don't you, Brian? We have to change the unspoken rules in our city and province. We'll start with the lower-ranking people, lower-ranking cases, and little by little, we'll establish rules that even high-born nobles will have to obey. All of a sudden, Elborn stops. Standing in the middle of a street bustling with life, he points out a number of commoners hurrying about their business. Just look. All these people need to know that there is such a thing as justice. The law must apply to them, all, no matter their lots. Whether suffering, praying, or ruling, they need to know they can rely on us judges to enforce the law against anyone and everyone. I'm counting on you in this, Sir Brante. You stand motionless as Elborn studies you intently. From now on, from this moment forth, you will prosecute a case against the High Commander of Magra, a high-born Arcanian from an ancient dynasty. This is a pivotal moment in your destiny and your career. You could rise higher than ever, or plunge into obscurity and ruin. You decide to talk about Thomas and his fates. Right now, he represents your best chance at getting Autumn indicted, but there is absolutely no guarantee he will live to speak at trial. If you are to oversee this case, ensuring his safety has to be the first thing you do. You're right, Brian. We need Thomas Guerrero to see this to the end. But remember, this is about more than just your friends and his fates. This is a matter of law and justice for the entire province. The peril to Sir Thomas's life is great indeed. But if you openly defy the High Commander right now, your standing will suffer accordingly. You could find a safe shelter for Sir Thomas, away from Autumn. But if Thomas remains in the city, he might be of use when you begin looking for Autumn's other victims. I realize you are looking for a way to rescue your friend, but right now we must all use caution lest our entire cause suffer. What say you, Brian? What is your plan? So I can let Thomas roam freely. Career goes up. Thomas will be in danger, and he won't be very happy about it. I could have Thomas taken into custody. I mean, that's certainly one way to get him out of danger. Reputation would suffer, though. I could send Thomas out of Anazote. Career would take a hit. And I can't convince him to leave the Legion because he's not in hiding, I guess. How, like, my career isn't doing great, is it? Yeah. Granted, our reputation, I don't believe is doing... Wait, where is it? Reputation's not great. I mean, this would act... I'll have him taken into custody. You inform Elbon that you have a plan to protect Thomas, but the prefect need not know the details. It'll be safer for everyone this way. That it will, Brante. You're the only one who truly knows how to help your friends. Proceed then. My only request is that you remain within the law at all times. You assure the prefect that the law will not be broken. On the contrary, it will be enforced with prejudice. I will leave that to your conscience, then. We should get back to work. Begin preparing the case at once. Back at the office, you send a note to Thomas's address, a brief request to visit you at the prefecture as soon as possible. He returns to your office that evening. You've not seen him for just one day, but he looks a decade older. It pains you to see him so downcast. But you have news. Otten is well on his way toward being punished for his crimes. You are building a case against the High Commander of Magra, and Thomas absolutely has to participate in the trial, as the main witness, and to tell the whole truth about the lawless tyranny of the haughty Ocnian. Upon hearing these words, Thomas stands tall again. You spy a wicked spark in his eyes, a glimmer familiar from the years when you were both young. My, oh my, the Brante boy next door wants to put an Ocnian behind bars. Count me in, buddy. I'll bear witness, alright. I'm gonna have myself a good rant about that high-born bastard. You ask your friend to pace himself for now. First of all, Thomas needs protection against Otten's harassment, and you have a plan for that. You will start building a case of illegal dueling, but introduce the facts in a different way. It will look like Thomas was the one who initiated the duel, and you will personally sentence him to a term in prison and temporary revocation of the sword. This way, Otten will be unable to reach Thomas or challenge him again. Thomas will remain safe for several months. You want to put me in jail? Isn't that too much? How's that going to affect my standing in the Legion? But my only alternative is doing Otten again. Okay. Do what you must. I'll put my trust in you, even if it means spending a couple of months behind bars. Shouldn't be any worse than our barracks. That's settled. You write an order to imprison Captain Thomas Guerrero for inciting a duel with his superior Sir Dorius Otten. All that is left now is to summon the gendarmes and have them seize Thomas's sword and take him to prison. You calmly watch your friend being put in shackles. He manages a sly wink before being led out of your office. Now, Captain Guerrero should be locked in a dark cell and kept safe and sound by the prefecture. Not even an Arcanian High Commander has the power to get him there. Sure. But your gambit does not go unnoticed. One of the judges at the prefecture learns about your order and starts spreading rumors among the other nobles, claiming you besmirched the good name of Sir Dorius Otten. After all, you have created a written record of Otten being challenged to a duel by one of his own captains. A considerable mark of shame for an Arcanian High Commander. The nobles are talking about it now. This will surely attract Otten's unwanted attention to the case and make your work as a judge more difficult. So Thomas is in hiding now, at least. And my reputation has been tarnished. I'm better at scheming, though, so, yeah. Otten's case, year 1141. You have been entrusted with a case against the noble and influential Arcanian, the High Commander of the province. He is accused of violence against his own legionnaires.